emergency meeting on what the fuck is this. You went from calling this man your hubby. Look, me and my hubby, Rich Homie Quan for life, you dig? You went from there to all of a sudden, I think 1090 Jake did a whole video on it.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of EOS. It's 1090 Jake, man. I'm rocking with y'all. Y'all rocking with me. And for this video, we're going to be speaking on Rich Homie Quan snitching. At this point, I'm not even surprised. Not only has more paperwork dropped in the YSL case, but an audio record.
Hey, before we get into this, man. Yo, Atlanta, y'all looking crazy. Y'all looking crazy. Y'all looking crazy, Atlanta. At this point, there might be like 5 rappers from Atlanta that I ain't tell. Everybody else done told. And by the way, you know, this constant conversation comes up. Yo, why do fans care? Well, rappers have made it that fans care. But I'll say this. I don't necessarily care. I do care about the hypocrisy, right? Because so many people have so much energy for certain people who told, but not for everybody who told. Also, it's so hypocritical when some of the same people who have had comments about telling have told themselves. So anyway, I don't know if y'all know the story of Thug and Quan. I'm pretty sure 1090 Jake's gonna put y'all up to speed, but essentially we find out they split apart because Quan was managed by a guy named Nut, Donovan Nut Thomas. And that guy had some issues with Young Thug. It kind of like really reached into the streets. Quan couldn't work with Thug anymore. Later, Nut dies. Quan was really close to Nut. And, you know, he never ever spoke on it. And by the way, he did a really good job. Until as of recent. By the way, if you watch my interview with him recently, I said, this is why you kind of fell back and never spoke on shit. And he ain't never really said nothing. He just kind of laughed and kept it moving. But it always felt like he would never be cool with Thug again because of that death. Now, here's the full explanation.
Recording just dropped of none other than Rich Homie Quan spitting a whole verse to law enforcement about Young Thug.
Right. So my hand was on the spot. I saw it. We had a show together. I was like, I'm just asking yourself. Everybody been talking about it. I'm gonna just be a man and answer myself. Right. It's real, man. There's no door has to do with we just can't prove. Right. Point blank period. I ain't no rat. I ain't telling no. I'm just being real with y'all. I got how much I love Nut, man. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit real fucked up, bro.
While it may be hard for some to understand Rich Homie speaking a language native to the streets of Atlanta, what he's speaking on is the very murder that would cause the fall of YSL.
I got one. Let me pause real quick. So, by the way, everybody these days is trying to like sell these footage or whatever the case is. Somebody's trying to sell me this full thing. Apparently it's 2 minutes long. 2 or 3 minutes long. So, I don't know if 1090 Jake plays more of this audio, but there's 3 minutes long of it. Here's my problem with this entire thing. This isn't, from what I see, it wasn't a interrogation but with the police. Now, there's a video form of it. Let me find it on my page. And the reason why I'm making that distinction is, are we going to call people snitches just because they're talking off the record? Are you thinking that street niggas don't say shit off the record to people? If you record every conversation with a street nigga, he's going to be saying some shit like, yeah, I ain't going to lie, that nigga, yeah, he did that, but we going to get our get back on. Like, they going to say some shit. I see people are quick to label people as a snitch, but we're not even, like, there's nothing in this conversation by Rich Homie Quan that I know of that was ever used in a police investigation. Somebody says saying it on the phone is ratting. Bro, y'all gotta stop, bro. If that's the case, let me ask y'all a question then. If that's the case, did Casanova snitch on Tax then? Reportedly, after Tax shoots up the club, Cass calls his dude and Cass says, yo, son, come here now. Tax just shot up the club. Is that snitching? He think he's talking to his man. He's trying to get reinforcement, whatever the fuck he's trying to do. Is that snitching? I hate it. Like, this snitching shit just doesn't have any bounds. So if that's the case, everybody's snitching on each other. Because if you're acting like street niggas don't talk about shit, even if they're talking about it in code. If that's the case, did YNW Melly snitch on himself? When reportedly, somebody reaches out to YNW Melly and says, yo, man, condolences for your loss, blah, blah. And he says, yo, I did that. Did he snitch on himself? Somebody says, yeah, it's dry snitching. I get the dry snitching shit. But my whole thing when it comes to snitching is that at what point do we just take random statements or random conversations between people that they're expecting not being recorded by other, maybe either street niggas or non-street niggas, and we're using those recorded conversations to now call somebody a snitch? This conversation with Rich Homie Quan sounds like it's a conversation when Rich Homie Quan already don't fuck with Thug or they're not fucking with each other, and he's basically talking about the death of Nut. He's like, yeah, we think that nigga Thug got something to do with it, but we can't prove it. I don't even think he's talking to law enforcement. Let me find the video because we only have the audio there. And when you only see the audio, it's expected that you're thinking, oh, he's in the fucking precinct just like spilling the beans. Let me see if I can find it. But in actuality, let me see. I gotta find it again. I'm gonna try to get the full version. By the way, which cop would have to secretly record you? Think about it. If the cops were really trying to get him to snitch, they would just have him say it at the precinct in the interrogation room where they have a fucking recorder. Why would a cop need to have his phone record and then put it down? And then that shit don't come out in court. They just leak it. Let me see if I can find it. Where the fuck? It's on my page somewhere. Tell me if y'all see it. 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 If y'all don't see it, I'm going to go on YouTube. Find that bit. Where the fuck is it? Can't find it, huh? Let me just go on here. Rich Young Thug. This would be this week. Let me see it. Okay.
You wasn't saying that long, you scared me saying that long, you know that? Right. So my hand was on the spot. I saw them, we had a show together. I was like, so I'm just asking to get yourself. Everybody been talking about it. I'm gonna just be a man and answer myself. Right. Scrub, man, niggas go through it, had something to do with it. We just can't prove. Right. Point blank period. I ain't no rat, I ain't telling no. I'm just being real with y'all. Cause that's how much I love nut, man. You know what I'm saying? I like that shit real fucked up, bro. Yes,
So, why did you suspect Young Thug when you went down to Miami? Because people told you, or did you have some beef with Young Thug at the time that kind of let you?
I ain't had no beef, bro. That shit was deeper than rap, man. I really feel as if they was jealous of the relationship.
I shut. Oh.
They were building work. You know what I'm saying? They were jealous of the relationship, man.
Because you guys seem to be getting along real well before that. I mean, I saw how you guys were working together in the summer 2014, and
Yeah, sorry, let me get some more. It's a white man, but he don't seem like a cop to me. It feels like somebody who's interviewing him. Hold on. I think the guy who he's talking to, the guy sounds so square we think it's a cop. Number one, I don't even think this is a video. This might be a re-recording, or we're listening to a recording that was played in this video, because I don't think this is even Quan or Quan's pants, pause. Which then tells me we don't really know when this was recorded, where they were. But the questioning don't seem like a detective. I mean, it kind of do, but it kind of don't. And if it is a detective, why isn't it popped up in paperwork?
I ain't no rat, I ain't telling no, I'm just being real with y'all. Cause that's how much I love Nut, man. You know what I'm saying? I like that shit real fucked up, bro.
So, why did you suspect Young Thug when you went down to Miami? Because people told you, or did you have some beef with Young Thug at the time that kind of let you?
I ain't had no beef, bro. That shit was deeper than rap, man. I really feel as if they was jealous of the relationship.
I shut. Oh.
Somebody said, act, bro, stop. Hold on. Somebody says, act, stop acting naive. Quan ain't sharing no shit like this with a journalist. He ain't sharing street shit with a journalist. Nigga, what? You know, every single time these rappers come and do my interviews at my studio, right? The real interview happened before we get on camera. They tell me everything. Oh, yo, yeah, this nigga, he shot at him. He did this, he did that, he did this. They all tell me that. Now, when we get on camera, if I, like, sometimes I'll ask them, like, if I bring this up in an interview, you gonna talk about it? Like, nah, I street shit. Okay. Happens all the time. Yo, these rappers like to talk. Again, maybe it is a cop, but I could definitely see it as a journalist who probably connected their own dots, and Quan just started being real about it. I don't know. My thing is, if this is a detective, why the detective recording on some sneaky shit? You don't got to record that nigga on some sneaky shit. Somebody said, you don't speak about murders in interviews. That's ratting. I'm not saying this is the interview. That's where y'all not getting what I'm saying. I'm saying it might be a documentary or something. Niggas is talking to him. This nigga, the camera might be off type shit. But somebody got their camera phone on still. So he thinking, all right, we not on camera right now. I'm going to keep it up being with you. This is what I really think happened to Nut. I think that nigga Thug did it, but we can't prove this shit. You feel me? I'm telling you, this shit happens all the time. Yeah, once he's doing his documentary interview for Nut, he ain't gonna. Man, I might be making this up. I'm just telling you, until I see this in a police affidavit, I have to assume that this ain't the cops. Somebody said that's still ratting. Well, I'm not saying. Well, if you consider ratting, it's ratting. I don't care. I'm just saying it's fishy how this footage came out.
Because you guys seem to be getting along real well before that. I mean, I saw how you guys were working together in the summer 2014. And
that's why I think it's not a cop. Oh, you guys seem to be getting along real well. Y'all was working together in the summer 2014. That doesn't sound like a question a cop would care to even ask. They're not gonna bring up, oh, we know y'all been doing music and getting along good. Nah, they're gonna try to keep it around whatever they're investigating.
And Thug gonna come to Atlanta. He wasn't saying Atlanta. He was scared of me saying Atlanta.
Organization, dog.
All right. Anyway, let me keep playing the 1090 Jake video. Somebody said Rich Homie Quan is on Thug's case as a witness. A witness list kind of means nothing, right? It could mean somebody the police interviewed. It could mean people or a person that the cops feel have some information that could lead to the conviction of somebody. It doesn't mean that person is a snitch.
While it may be hard for some to understand Rich Homie speaking a language native to the streets of Atlanta, what he's speaking on is the very murder that would cause the fall of YSL.
I got one of the biggest bloods in America with me, my you did, Atlanta, Georgia.
There are shell casings up and down the street. Now, I'm told one of the men who was shot, a man in his mid-20s, is in critical condition, but that his status could change for the worse overnight.
Rich Homie Quan's former manager, Donovan Thomas, who went by the name Peanut or Big Nut, was a member of the Inglewood family Bloods. His 2015 assassination outside of an Atlanta barbershop would result in a back-and-forth war between Inglewood family and Sex Money Murder. The majority of the violence would be documented in the YSL indictment. Prosecutors allege Young Thug was in communications with Sex Money Murder leader Kyle Ory, who's currently serving a life sentence in Georgia State Prison. Big Nut was said to have snitched against members of the gang, and prosecutors allege Young Thug orchestrated his death by renting the vehicle YSL members would later use to commit the drive-by that took Nut's life. After the hit, Thug and the alleged shooters would take a trip to Miami to lay low. Rich Homie Quan would speak with investigators explaining he never saw Thug in Atlanta after the murder. He was going...
Well, that seems like... Well, it looked like 1090 Jake is kind of co-signing that that's investigators. Hey, can we get 1090 Jake on Discord? I haven't talked to him in a minute. If anybody got a line on 1090 Jake, man, tell my boy to hop in Discord, right?
Going to confront him at a Miami show over the rumors that Thug played a part in Nut's death. Rich Homie would allege people knew Thug had something to do with it, but they couldn't prove it. He'd then say he isn't a rat and he isn't telling. He's just keeping it real with investigators. Rich Homie would also allege Thug was jealous of the relationship he had with Nut, as Thug wanted to control the Atlanta music scene and Nut was keeping Rich Homie at a distance from Thug. This wasn't all Rich Homie would speak on though. 2 pictures of the interview transcripts would make its way to News Made It. Rich Homie...
Oh, this was an interview. My bad. This into the interview, I asked Rich Homie Quan for Young Thug's phone number. Holy shit. So the full 30-minute shit gonna leak. Oh, wow.
Homie would state him and Thug frequented or resided in the same condominium leading up to Nut's death and that they were cool. But after the murder, they drifted apart. 14 minutes into the interview, Rich Homie would speak on his truck being shot up and immediately calling Young Thug, alleging his people were behind it. He'd then speak on his father's barbershop being shot up and knowing whoever did it had something to do with Nut's death. 4 months before Nut was killed, a gunman would open fire inside of a barbershop, striking Rich Homie's father 4 times. The barbershop had just been shot up a month prior to this incident. Investigators believe the attack stemmed from Rich Homie beefing with local rappers, but at the time, Rich Homie Quan denied the rumors. Now speaking with investigators, when asked why his father would be targeted, Rich Homie explained at the time, him and Thug were doing shows together, but he was getting the most money. They wanted his dad out of the picture to further control Rich Homie's management, and they knew his dad was at the barbershop 24/7. He had no proof Thug was behind the shooting, but he did bring up an argument his dad had with Birdman. His father wouldn't share the details on what was said, but would later tell him, "We're gonna fall back from them." 22 minutes into the interview, Rich Homie was asked why he wouldn't sign with Birdman, and he explained other artists are constantly complaining about their financial situation. He felt he'd make more money on his own and then later sign. Rich Homie would say that after Nut was killed, he didn't contact Thug and Thug didn't contact him. Thug would move out of the condo about 2 weeks after the murder.
Okay, so this is something I've been hearing a long time. I've been hearing this a long time. So apparently, a lot of people put Birdman into the situation as well. And salute to Stunner, and this is all alleged, but this is what I've heard some individuals who seem familiar with the Atlanta area say. They said a lot of this shit kind of got started when Birdman comes to Atlanta and Birdman's trying to bring some blood shit there. Like he on that blood, like him and Young Thug was always on that, all that type of shit, right? And that's how they wanted to run everything, but there were a few people standing in the way. He wanted to get these two guys in under Rich Gang, but Rich Homie Quan was being managed by Donovan Nut Thomas. So that becomes a problem. You get what I mean? Young Thug is fully on board, this and third, but Quan shit is getting slow. There's other issues that kind of spiraled into it. That's when the whole thing happened with Nut. Also, which they connected, because from what I'm hearing is that police had like a long-ass investigation on Thug and Birdman for the longest, trying to get them in maybe some conspiracy, because if you don't also remember the shooting on Lil Wayne, or at Lil Wayne, right? That was in Atlanta, right? That shooting done by Pee Wee Roscoe, or whatever. After he does the shooting, allegedly, the two people he calls right after the shots are done, right after he shot the bus, is Birdman and Thug. And apparently there's a kind of a transcript to that call a little bit, where supposedly, like, you know what I mean, there's nothing directly said there, but it kind of almost like a, all right, yeah, you handle that, whatever. But apparently, police were very interested in how this new presence of all this extra blood shit popping up, not that it wasn't there in Atlanta before, but they start seeing the music industry and musicians start moving on some gangster blah, blah, blah. And from what I hear, they were investigating Birdman for quite a long time. Now, clearly he dodged all indictment or even arrest. And by the way, even in the Pee Wee Roscoe case, he's listed as a possible collaborator or person of interest, but he never gets arrested. But you get to realize, going even further back to this Nut situation, that's also Birdman kind of comes into that as well, which if you start putting two and two together, you might get four, okay?
And when asked why Thug called him Bitch Homie Quan 2 months after Nut's death, he didn't have an answer. Providing the
1090's on Discord? Hold on. I'm on Discord. My boy at? Okay. Where's Jake at? If Jake is here, just move him into my chat. Okay.
Investigator with Young Thug's phone numbers. The investigator asked if Thug ever made any threatening messages to him, but Rich Homie would state he's smarter than that. Roughly 30 minutes into the interview, the paperwork would be cut off. So realistically, we don't know how long Rich Homie sat down with investigators, but we do know he's on the YSL witness list. This leaves the possibility that Rich Homie would be called in to testify against Thug, as he'd have to recite everything said in the interview in front of Young Thug. So did Rich Homie Quan snitch? Absolutely. He's alleging Thug was behind the murder of Nut, the shooting of his father, and the shooting of his truck. Rich Homie would say he's keeping it real with investigators, and regardless of whether or not he portrayed a street lifestyle and abides by the street code, this is another major loss for the city of Atlanta, as another Atlanta rapper has cooperated.
Ironically, when Young Thug gets locked up and the whole YSL gets locked up, I hear a lot of mumblings and talk from Atlanta that Quan is back. And I guess what you have to take away from knowing everything we know now is that after he fell out with Young Thug and after Nut died, essentially, it's not that Rich Homie Quan necessarily fell off, is that Young Thug owned Atlanta, and because he ain't fucking with Rich Homie Quan couldn't last in the position he was in for too long. So when Thug gets locked up, I hear a bunch of street niggas start backing Quan because people always thought he was one of the most talented. It's just that Thug had the streets. So when Thug off the streets, I had many people calling from Atlanta saying, yo, Quan is coming back. And I'm like, why y'all are telling me this in 2022? Like, they're like, nah, this is Quan's time now. You know what I mean? Now, has it materialized? I wouldn't say all the way yet, but he definitely has more of a presence now than in the last couple of years when YSL was definitely out here. So
now this is bad. And from what I heard from a source in Atlanta, the DA is trying to find out who's leaking all this. And they're trying to put charges on people for leaking this information. Because stuff like this will make a witness not want to cooperate. And if a witness is like, hey, I just got exposed by so-and-so and they just released all this stuff that y'all said wasn't going to get released, I don't want nothing to do with this, I don't want to testify, the courts can then charge that person with tampering with the witness. You just affected the case by fucking up a witness testimony. So this is getting deep. They're trying to find out who exposed YSL Woody. I guarantee you they're trying to find out who just released the audio to Rich Homie Quan. I feel that a lot of people are gonna have different opinions in this situation. Does Rich Homie Quan abide by the street code? I never heard of him having a gang affiliation. I don't really remember him talking about shooting people, this, that, and the third. He's saying a close friend of his was killed. He's willing to tell investigators everything he knows. He's saying his father was targeted and shot, and he himself was targeted and shot at. And goddamn, it's just like, who else is gonna tell? Who else already told and we don't know about it? I mean, they got mad names on the witness list. Even Lil Wayne and YFN Lucci. And Lucci just denied the deal they were trying to give him in his RICO case. So I can't imagine what they have that would make him a witness in this case. But in my opinion, just from what I read, since we don't know how long this interrogation actually was, we just know it was about 30 minutes, he did bad. He definitely did bad. Definitely didn't have to say all that, but made the decision to do so. I haven't heard a response from him after everything came out on the internet. I know that the night this video is being recorded, he's supposed to be performing at the same show as Boosie and Webby, and I don't know if there's gonna be any conflict.
Nah, Boosie and Webby don't give a fuck about this. All right, so this supposedly is the paperwork. Obviously, it's taken by like a iPhone 10. But apparently this is a copy or a picture of the transcript or pretty much a summary of what he told investigators, which is Rich Homie Quan. Let's see if we can read some of them. So I believe that the two crimes were Rich Homie Quan stated that he believed. This is funny too. They type Rich Homie Quan right here by putting RHQ, which is a common, like, you know, when they're trying to use an abbreviation for his name, that's common in hip hop. But why would a cop use RHQ? Well, when they use his real name. Anyway, RHQ next stated that he believed that the September 29th shooting of his father inside the barbershop was also connected to the murder of Donovan Thomas. I asked Rich Homie Quan why Young Thug would have targeted his father. He says, because at the time we was doing all the shows together. I was getting the most money, though, and they wanted my dad out the picture because, you know, everybody want the management. They know I'm not going nowhere without my dad, and they know he at the barbershop 24/7 every day. They said they had no proof of the allegations, though, and about 21 minutes into the interview, he mentioned that Birdman and his father got into an argument about what he didn't know. Rich Homie Quan explained that after this argument, his father told him, come on, we're going to fall back from them. Rich Homie Quan opined that his theory regarding the shooting of his father just made sense. Take my dad out the picture, man. You can get me to sign with whoever you want to sign. 22 minutes into the interview, I asked Rich Homie Quan why he didn't want to sign with Birdman. He explained that other artists signed to the label consistently complained about their financial situations as it related to contracts with said label. He said he believed that he stood to make more money on his own than he would with Cash Money Records. He stated while he didn't contact Young Thug after the murder, Young Thug did not contact him. He said that Young Thug moved out of the Sky House condominiums probably 2 weeks after, and he said he never saw Thug at Sky House after Nut got murdered. He asked Rich Homie Quan about, is that Tonight Jake? No. Did Tonight Jake come here or not?
Nah, he ain't come in, no. I just hit him on there.
Okay. Let me see. Rich Homie Quan. 25 minutes into the interview, he asked Rich Homie Quan for Young Thug's phone number. He provided him with, he gave him the phone number. The same number I had previously identified belonged to Thug. He next provided me with that number, the same being unknown to me at the time. I asked him if the numbers were those he utilized to connect directly with Thug rather than his manager, Amina Diop. Oh, shit. I know Amina Diop. She's some big wig in the music industry. I think she might be with QC. Amina Diop. Oh, she's at Republic Records. Okay. Diop. Hold on. Rich Homie Quan told me that the numbers he provided for Thug were direct contact. He said we asked if Thug ever texted me threatening messages, which he responded no. He's smarter than that. He further said that if Thug had a problem with Nut, he would not say it around Rich Homie Quan because he knew that Nut was Rich Homie Quan's dog. Rich Homie Quan said that if Nut never told him about a quarrel with Thug, but advised him to separate from them, he didn't know why Nut thought it was so prudent for him to disassociate himself from Birdman and Young Thug. But he said that he was getting a bad vibe somewhere. Rich Homie Quan said that Birdman was in contact with his father more than Nut with respect to the Cash Money Records courtship of Rich Homie Quan. Okay. And I guess this was the first page. At about 13:20 into the interview, Rich Homie Quan said, straight up, man, niggas know Thug has something to do with it. We just can't prove it, point blank, period. I asked Rich Homie why he suspected Thug. He explained there was no active beef with him and Thug, but the shit was deeper than rap, man. I feel like they was jealous of the relationship me and Nut was building. I mentioned the media coverage of both him and Young Thug during the summer of 2014 appeared to depict an amicable and prosperous relationship between the two. To this, Rich Homie Quan remarked, yeah, we were. Look. Listen, man. Everything about it, like, yeah, know what I'm saying? I'm cool with Thug. I don't have nothing against him. It's just that type of situation where I feel betrayed. It was betrayal. 14 minutes, he says, Rich Homie Quan got more agitated as he recalled Young Thug's demeanor in a Miami nightclub following Donovan Thomas death. In the midst, he interjected, the night my truck got shot up, I called Thug like, man, I don't know what happened, whatever, or what y'all got going on, but my truck ended up getting hit, you feel me? One of y'all niggas shot at my truck, straight up. But I ain't hear nothing from nobody. You know what, whatever, for the foregoing rant, I wanted to ask Rich Homie Quan, why did you immediately think to call Young Thug? And before I could ask the question, he interjected like, what the fuck? You feel me? I don't know. Boy, these niggas don't want to see us together. That's why, blah, blah. I didn't get a call. Da, da, da. Okay. All right, whatever. It's not like it's cooperation, people, but
Yeah, it hit different when another Atlanta rapper snitching.
if we forgiven Gunna, I'm forgiving him.
Yeah, Rich Homie Quan wasn't a street nigga, so definitely like.
I feel like he used to rap some street shit though.
Yeah, but is he a street nigga? You think he qualified as a street nigga?
Somebody said fake paperwork. Somebody said, why you calling the nigga you think shot at you, asking why did you shoot at me? Swift Zoe Gaming, like, that's a great question, but I think that question is answered by this. It looks like Young Thug and Rich Homie Quan had this weird relationship where it's like you cool with another nigga, but the people you really cool with or you roll with beefing with his niggas. But y'all still keeping it cool type shit, and y'all kind of leaving each other out of the beef. So that's the reason why he's calling him like, yo, some shit just happened. Like, bro, that ain't y'all, right? Like, you know what I mean? So he's kind of unsure, but it don't feel like they've ever kind of really disrespected each other in text message or start beefing. So I think that's why that whole relationship manifests like how it did.
I ain't gonna lie, it looked and sound like at the time niggas probably needed Rich Homie Quan for like the sauce and the music, but niggas always looked at him like food. You know what I'm saying? Because again, a lot of those songs came from Rich Homie Quan having like the hook and shit already planned out. It's like, okay, if this nigga got the sauce for the music, we can't, you know what I'm saying? But that nigga pussy anyway. So it's like, we gonna do it like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yo,
it sound crazy if both of your people still told you not to fuck with a nigga, you kind of like still lingering, you know?
Hey, I'm gonna be honest with you. What this whole situation kind of tells me, Young Thug is fucking screwed. Yo, you could tell the cops have heard this nigga's name connected to mad shootings, connected to mad murders, and bro, this is their time of locking him up. And I think they're not, nigga, they're gonna throw everything at him, nigga, to hopefully get something to stick, because they really believe that he really was organizing niggas getting shot at, niggas' houses getting shot up, people getting shot in barbershops, people getting killed. And at the end of the day, we love Young Thug, but let's be honest, man. If Young Thug was wasting his days and talents orchestrating all this fuckery, trying to get people killed because he was trying to run a music scene, brother,
he's a fucking fool.
It looked like,
I ain't gonna lie, it's crazy. Yeah, it's insane. It's insane.
Chad, if all these things are true, I think Young Thug is at the only place that's suitable for him. If these things are true, like, we just gotta be honest. we gotta be honest. Now, I don't know these things to be true, but if every Atlanta rapper is snitching on him, like, all this King Slime shit sound cool, but brother, you look like you wanted to be a bigger gangster than you wanted to be a musician. Nigga, you're ordering all type of niggas' murders, niggas' fathers getting shot, if these things are true. Now, again, these things look like they've been carrying this investigation on for a while, and every nigga they talked to just kept saying, Thug is doing this, Thug is doing this. Thug is the guy. Thug is the guy who's setting up the killings. Thug is the guy who ordered for this to be shot. I'm sorry to tell y'all, man. this is just tough for me to just blindly ride the yo, they're just making it up off his music.
You feel like that's why the district attorney going so hard?
Yeah, here's the point, and I'll state my point. With all due respect to Thug, if Thug had, according to what the police is saying, over 10 niggas ordered to be killed, that nigga deserved to be in jail. Let's keep it on that. Like, we got to be honest. Like, again, we love his music, but he could release music while he locked up. Like, we got to keep it a bean. We can't just keep blindly saying niggas should get free. Like,
yo, this nigga is nuts.
No, it's not being nuts. It's being sane. Like, if you are a famous serial murderer, we can't just be like, I know y'all laughing because like it seems so crazy to say.
Not because you saying facts. It's just crazy. You know that shit just sound crazy when you say it out loud. Like,
why does it sound crazy?
It makes it hard to feel sorry for niggas though.
If Young Thug had 5 niggas killed in Atlanta, why are we saying free Thug?
Didn't he call the jail and told niggas to kill a nigga in jail?
Then he called the jail and said, "Oh, we finally got Lucci. Stab him up next." What? I'm just saying,
is that self snitching?
Well, I don't.
Hey, let's act like 6ix9ine didn't do the same thing.
Yeah, and 6ix9ine deserved jail too.
Oh,
he does, but he snitched, nigga.
Hey, well, shit. He lucked out and being able to snitch. What I'm trying to say is that, yo, at what point do us fans, like, we all seem to be invested in the snitching shit, but let's be honest. I don't know if the fans are really thinking they're street niggas. You're not street niggas, okay? Like, you're living vicariously through these rappers. I understand being invested into is somebody snitching on because it makes them more validated in what they're saying, or they practicing what they preach, or there's a fraud. I get that. But let's be honest. Do y'all like, and even I'll bring Vaughn up. We love Vaughn. But if Vaughn literally, like, do you feel that bad for Vaughn? Like, with all due respect, we love Vaughn. Like, obviously, we wish he didn't die. But if the nigga clapped like 10 people, like, brother, at what point you were going to be like, yo, my nigga. No?
No, I feel you, man. Hey.
Or we're going to live in the music delusion to say this nigga's music is so good, we don't care how many people he killed.
Wait, so Ak, are you saying that the person matters, not just the music? The person, the actual individual matters too?
Yes! Like for example, I'm covering this YNW Melly case. Man, I love me some Melly. But man, I'm a little bit in the delusion and denial phase of saying, I hope this nigga ain't do it. Because if he did do it, it's hard for me to say, free the guy who shot his 2 friends while they were taking a nap. Like, come on, bro. Like, that doesn't sound crazy, y'all? Just tell me if I'm sounding wild.
It's nice to have rappers that actually live the shit they rap about, bro.
Nigga, it's stupid. It's stupid. I can't agree with that, bro. I think it's fucking dumb, bro. Yeah, it's insanity.
Wait. No. So, don't clock it, right? Or don't clock out. So, when you hear about like the Thug situation, and the more I'm listening to it, it sound like, bro, you literally had a nigga you had YSL Woody saying, bro, I don't know why this guy who's so rich and famous is so obsessed with violence and murder. Bro, that's a problem. You know what I mean? It's like, I get it, but we're not trying to hype up the biggest serial killers in music. Like, that's not, especially if you're a continuing crime. Like, of course I know, listen, most rappers probably did some dirt in the street. But if you on and you still out here, especially you're ordering people's murders because y'all have a music or y'all fighting for, you know, real estate in the music business, and you think if you get one nigga out the way, you'll be more successful.
All right, look, I'm gonna be completely honest, bro. Me personally, I don't believe in, like, you know, I feel like these niggas are pieces of shit. However, we glorify this shit in hip hop, bro. So it's kind of like, if they win, they win. You know what I mean?
Okay, and this is why, you know, again, you can call Rich Homie Quan a snitch or whatever he is. Well, what about the victims though? So let's think about this. I never heard about Young Thug stuff getting shot up. I never heard about him getting shot. He allegedly made all these calls, but he's surviving. He good. Even if he locked up, he's still straight. There's people dead. There's people with families that died. What about them? We don't care about them?
I'm not going to say we don't care about them, but
they can't make a hot song. So we don't care.
Exactly. That's what I was about to say. Like, and I'm saying if they shit would have been fired, then they could have had the fans and niggas that supported them. You feel me?
Hey.
And it's sad to say, but it's true.
Hey, all I'm just saying, with all due respect, the more I hear about this Thug situation, Thug just don't seem like the greatest individual, bro. This nigga seem
None of these niggas do act.
Yeah, but this nigga seemed like he was on some real mafia timing. Like he was like, all right, clap him today. Like he was treating life and death like it was nothing. Now, again, maybe this is all trumped up because maybe the police is leaking all this, so obviously they're not going to leak the stuff that show him as, him having empathy and him being sympathetic and him being a good guy and helping people out. They're not going to leak stuff like that. But all these things I'm like, God damn, Rich Homie Quan was fucking scared shitless. Rich Homie Quan basically in an interview shaking like a stripper in church on Sunday morning, basically saying, yo, he shot my father, he shot my friend, he shot my car. Yo, like, nigga, the way Rich Homie Quan talking to this detective, it sounds like he trying to tell the detective, nigga, lock me up that he can't shoot me. I'm serious. Nigga. He told my Young Thug, like, yo, this nigga is the villains of villains.
Yeah, shooting a nigga.
Hey, he better go ahead. Hey, Gunna better get that feature from Rich Homie Quan.
Yo, nigga.
I ain't gonna lie, that might be fire.
Yo,
this interview sound like that Rich Homie Quan voluntarily went to the police precinct and said, lock me in here, that I could stay away from King Slime, okay? What in the fuck is this?
Hey, Slime Demix ain't gonna appreciate you talking like that.
Slime Demix dead. Yo, Turbo 8400. You're right. Yo, Young Thug is moving like El Mencho.
You know what's bad too? All of Atlanta, they can't even say nothing because the whole time he was wearing dresses and shit, they was like, nah, he really about it. Nah, he's really about it. He's really about it. Like,
that nigga show he really about it.
Yeah, like niggas can't even go back and be like, no, he was a good person. No, all y'all was saying he be in a dress, but that nigga would shoot your ass.
So
that's what they were telling us.
So this is my takeaway from this Thug situation.